What is up, everybody? Welcome into this Wednesday episode of Flippin' Bats, where we have stud rookie for the Cincinnati Reds, Matt McLain, set to join us here today. I am pumped for this one because I love the Reds. The Cincinnati Reds are so much fun. Their rookie core of him, Matt McLain, Elly De La Cruz, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Spencer Steer, Andrew Abbott. The names go on and on and on. But guess what? You look up in August and they're in a playoff position, or they have their eyes on the playoffs, and we're going to talk all about that. How much fun baseball is in Cincinnati right now? How good is Elly De La Cruz, and how much fun is it being his teammate? We're going to play a little Reds rookie game where we're going to talk about all of them and ask them the best athlete, the funniest, the smartest. Also, important to note, we are recording this a little bit early, Tuesday, the day of the trade deadline. So in the middle of this conversation, you will hear it at some point, I find out that Justin gets traded in the middle of this conversation with Matt McLain. And the reaction is, it's written all over my face, but if you're listening, you won't be able to see it, but you'll certainly be able to hear the reaction. So this is going to be a blast of a conversation. So without further ado, let's welcome in stud rookie for the Cincinnati Reds, Matt McLain.
Fly ball onto the track, at the wall, it's gone! Home run!
Turns on a ball, deep right field, and gone!
What a game, what a moment. All right, and I am pumped to welcome him in now, Cincinnati Reds middle infielder Matt McLain. Matt, thanks so much for joining me, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Hey, I want to start with this Reds team. So fun, young, exciting. It's early August and you're in the midst of a playoff race. I mean, how much fun is this team having right now?
A lot of fun, especially when we're winning. It's fun to be a part of. You come to the yard every day and everyone's ready to win that day. It's like you got a chance every single day, no matter what. And that's a really good feeling to be playing like that too. Doesn't matter who we're playing, like we're going to have a shot.
When you made your debut May 15th, and the Cincinnati Reds were 18-23. They're in fourth place in the division. And since then, since that day, one of the best teams in baseball, obviously, and positioned to be in the playoffs, a lot of time left, but playing great baseball. How have you seen the vibe in the city of Cincinnati shift from the fan base?
Yeah, the fans are definitely into it. The weekends and the games are like sold out. Like it's fun. Like you get someone 0-2, they start playing the music, they start chanting. Deep into games, they're on their feet. It's sick.
Did you realize how much of a baseball city Cincinnati was until you guys started winning? Because you see the opening day crowds, the fans are there.
Yeah. But
then they haven't been great for a few years, and now you are, and it feels like the fans are coming out in droves to watch you play.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories, and obviously, like coming up through the Reds, like you're taught their history, and their history, the Big Red Machine. But it's something like you don't experience until you're actually there playing on the field. When it's like a sold out game, you're like, okay, like they love us. Like it's a big deal for everyone in the city.
Yeah, that's so cool. How much do you feel like it helps you guys that obviously you're playing well, which we talked about, but everybody that comes up, it feels like prospect after prospect continues to get called up, and you all know each other. Y'all have been playing together in the minors for a while now. So it feels like every big time player that gets brought up, it's just another piece to the puzzle that you guys were all teammates already.
Exactly. Like the work that we put in together in the minor leagues and in spring training and stuff. It's cool to see us bring it to the big league level, and have success early on. But it's exciting to be a part of, but we know that we need to keep working to continue to get better and continue to play well. But it's fun to see that come up and play with the guys and work with the guys in the minors and then do the same thing here and win.
One of those guys is Elly De La Cruz, who I know you're close with. You guys have a good relationship, and he's an absolute stud. If you could describe Elly De La Cruz in one word, what would it be?
He's funny.
Funny? What? His personality?
Yeah, his personality. I mean, obviously he's good at baseball, but like we both we both like to mess around, so he's funny.
I saw something that said he had to teach you how to properly showboat and be better at, and enjoying that part of the game. How did that come to
be? It was in spring training. I like the first game I hit a walk-off homer, and like I hit it pretty good. Like it was gone. But like he was mad at me. He's like, "Why didn't you pimp it? Like, come on, you knew that ball was gone." And then he's like, that's when he was like, "We're gonna show up tomorrow morning at 6, and I'll teach you how to pimp homers."
Is that what happened?
Which I'm still not good at.
Did you show up at 6 though?
No.
Well, maybe that's why you're not good at it, because you didn't show up.
Yeah, I'll just watch you. Like he'll pimp him, and then I'll learn from that.
How cool was it the night that he got called up? I feel like there's been a lot of prospects called up this year, but the hype around him was really cool. And then you watched the game that night, and the stands were more crowded, and there were more eyes on the game. I mean, how cool was the vibe in the stadium the night that Elly made his debut?
Yeah, I mean, everyone knew like he was coming, and everyone knew the type of player that he was, and the amount of energy, and how he can help the team win games every single day in like these crazy ways. You could tell everyone was like buzzing, like everyone around the clubhouse, everyone in the stadium, the fans. It was cool to see.
I've said this often throughout my career and everything. My career was very up and down. I could have a month where I was fantastic and then a month where I couldn't buy a hit. And, when I talk to people about my career or baseball or how to make it to the big leagues, I tell them the most important thing is being consistent and consistency and not letting the lows get too low. And I feel like, Matt, you're a guy that I don't know if it's fair to say mastered it as a rookie, but I feel like the consistency is a huge part of your game. How have you managed throughout your career, including college, the minors, and in the major leagues, to remain as consistent as you have and not let an 0 for 4 turn into an 0 for 8, turn into an 0 for 20?
Yeah, that's something I take pride in. By no means have I mastered it at all, but I do take pride in it in the way that I go about it. I really try and make it about the process as opposed to the results. But that's one thing that I want to be known for is I want to be consistent. I want to play every day. And I just want to be consistent throughout the season. Doesn't matter what time of year. I just want to be me all the time.
Yeah. I think, you say the right thing, and it's easy to say it, and you might be listening and hear like, yeah, just remain true to your process. But it really is a lot harder than I think people understand because of how mental the game of baseball is. And, to stick with a process, although you might go 2 games in a row without a hit, it was always super difficult for me to not look up at the scoreboard every at bat, and you see your batting average dwindling after every, offer. And it is the toughest game in the world mentally. So to remain consistent is something that I think is really impressive.
Thank you. I'm still working on it, but I appreciate it.
A guy that maybe as a rookie it's not fair to say mastered, but a guy that I feel like has mastered it is Joey Votto, who I would put him in the Hall of Fame, but I know as of right now a lot of people say it's a fringe conversation. To me, he's a Hall of Famer. What have you learned being teammates with a guy like Joey Votto?
That's one of the things that we've talked about so much is consistency, and like he works so hard. I mean, obviously, in my eyes, he's a Hall of Famer, but like the way that he still goes about his work is unbelievable. I mean, he works harder than anyone. He works every single day. He's there early. He's there the latest. And just seeing him go about his business and how much all the little details matter is really cool for me and a lot of the younger guys to see him still going at it at 39.
One
late in his career.
One of my favorite random baseball stats belongs to Joey Votto, and the fact that he didn't pop up to the infield in like over half a decade. It's the most remarkable thing of all time.
Yeah.
Not once did he just pop up to somebody in the infield.
Yeah, that's really crazy, actually.
Did you guys? All right, so I'm assuming you saw the interview on MLB Network the other day with Joey Votto, correct?
Yeah.
Were you guys watching in the locker room? Like, what was the reaction from the team while that interview was happening?
I think it aired like a day later.
So you know it was coming.
I'm not totally sure on that, but I saw it on social media before anything. So I think I saw it on social media that night before it was aired. I don't know if that's true or not, but I did see it on social media first, and I thought it was funny.
What were people talking about in the locker room the next day? I thought it was the most remarkable baseball interview I've seen maybe ever.
Yeah, he was ready for it. He was practicing for it. So I saw it in the cages, and I knew kind of what he was going to say, and I thought it was funny. So it was, a good amount of people like saw it and knew what he was going to do. So when I saw it on social media, I was like, oh, he actually did it. Like, cool.
So he was legit practicing this in the cages, like preparing for this moment.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He did it perfect.
It was great. Have you in your career, I feel like I had Joey Votto on this show last year, and to me, he immediately became one of my favorite people I've ever talked to, just because of baseball aside, like how awesome of a human being he is, and how much of a good person he is, but he's hysterical. He's got to be one of the favorite teammates you've ever had.
Definitely. We've only been playing for a little bit, but I've thought about that, and he's definitely up there. He's funny. He really respects and cares for everyone on the team, and tries to help guys out when he can. And that goes a long way.
He is certainly one of the Cincinnati Reds legend, of which there are many, by the way. So my question to you is, if you had to pick one Cincinnati legend, let's take Joey Votto out of it, one Cincinnati legend to play with, who would it be?
Barry Larkin.
Oh, why? Position, same position?
No, I would play second. But he's with the Reds, and I got to work with him in spring training a lot, and he's just awesome. A lot of the stuff that he has to say, the way that he would talk about how he played, I think I admire, and I really like. I kind of see similarities. I want to play that way, the way that he played, hard every day. And obviously he's really good. So yeah, for sure him.
Have you gotten to talk to him and pick his brain about baseball ever?
Yeah, a lot. No, he was with the Reds in spring training, so he was on the field and stuff.
That's awesome. That was my favorite thing about spring training with the Tigers. Obviously never made it to the big leagues, but we would have Alan Trammell always around, Al Kaline, Kirk Gibson. I mean, just Willie Horton. The legends are always around. And to me, when I look back on my career, the coolest thing I think is getting to pick the brain of some of those older legends, and even, about life, about baseball. I will never forget, and he's since passed away, but I got pretty close with Al Kaline over the course of my few years in the Tigers organization. And just sitting down to lunch in the cafeteria and sitting across the table from him and hearing stories. And he always used to say to me, you probably never, you don't know me, you don't know much about my career, but people say I wasn't too bad. And it's just those memories you get to have hearing them talk stories was so cool for me.
It's definitely cool, getting to pick their brain, and then something that you've never even thought of that they went through every day, or just the way that they played the game was different. And in a lot of ways, it was not better, but just different, and something that I could take and run with and use it to my game and use it to my advantage.
Yeah. I want to talk your career and your career path a little bit, because you were actually drafted by the Diamondbacks in the first round out of high school and ended up declining, going to college, went to play at UCLA. How difficult of a process was that for you? How difficult was the decision to ultimately not sign in the first round and go to college?
The decision wasn't that tough, because I knew what I wanted to do, and I was firm in what I wanted to do. I really wanted to play at UCLA. It was a lifelong dream. And I got to do that. The process at UCLA was tough. There was adversity there. My freshman year, I was not that good. So I had to learn to deal with adversity and look it in the face and continue to get better, learn my holes. and then get better, take that into summer ball and then sophomore year and then junior year, and eventually got drafted by the Reds.
How awesome is John Savage, by the way? When I was playing in the off season, I was living out here in LA, and I went over to the stadium and basically just asked if I could use the facilities. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. I would love for you to. We have some guys that come and work out here in the off season. Would love for you to join them. Like, here's the time they're normally here. I show up that first day and I ended up getting front toss from Giancarlo Stanton, and I would flip to him. Like, the legends that come there are awesome. But I just thought from the brief time meeting him that John Savage was just the nicest guy.
He is. I saw him in LA. We came from LA, and I saw him in LA. It was good to see him. I saw Coach Ward, the other coach, the hitting coach there. And I don't know, the whole staff is just awesome.
Were there a lot of big league guys that would roll through? I know, I think Stanton used to frequently visit there because, you know, I was hitting with him and I was really cool. But when you were there big leaguers that would often roll through?
Stanton was there a lot. I took ground balls to Arenado once, but for the most part, I had classes or weights all mornings, and that's when those guys would show up. So I didn't see too many of them, but Stanton was there pretty regularly. Arenado, I know every once in a while. Other than that, I know there was other guys, but those are the two that stick out.
I don't know if you've gotten to do it, but nothing makes you feel weak like hitting baseballs next to Giancarlo Stanton.
No, I haven't. I'll pass.
So you end up having, after your freshman year, you mentioned you end up going on to have a great career there at UCLA, and again getting drafted in the first round. I love talking to guys about this. What was your draft day story like when you end up getting picked in the first round by the Cincinnati Reds?
I was nervous. I was ready, but I was like nervous because, you know, I was one of those, I didn't necessarily know where I was going to go. So like I went down, I played catch with my brothers at our high school. And then other than that, there was a bunch of family and friends coming around, and, you know, everyone wanted to talk. It was cool. It was cool to see everyone, but I didn't know what was going on. And then the Reds pick was coming up, and a couple picks before I was told that I was going to be picked by the Reds. And I was excited because I knew that they had they weren't very good that year, but I knew that the farm system was up and coming. And I knew that it was a good place for me. Cincinnati, I'd never been to Cincinnati before. So I was like, oh, like, what's that like? Eventually I got drafted and then got to go see it. And it was, stadium's awesome. Obviously the city's great and the fans are great, but, that day was crazy. Like I just didn't know what to expect at all.
I feel like when it comes to Cincinnati, I'm not sure I've actually ever been, but the talk when anybody talks Cincinnati is, well, how's the chili? So how is Skyline chili?
I had it once. It was pretty good, but you got to be ready to eat it. You got to be hungry. You can't you got to really want chili, like, cause there's a lot of it. There's a lot of cheese on it. There's a lot on it. So like, you definitely have to be in the mood for it, but it was good. If you're in the mood for it.
You ended up starting your pro career in Dayton for the Dayton Dragons. When I played in the Midwest League, I was with the Whitecaps, and our first game of the season was in Dayton against the Dragons. And I remember hearing, because always good crowds, and what we heard when we rolled in there was that it's the longest consecutive sellout streak in all of American professional sports. And I would look up, and this was like, it wasn't the first series of the year. It was our first road trip. And I looked up on like the Wednesday night game, and I was like, they get a great crowd, but I don't know if it's sold out. And then what I heard, so I need you to tell me if this is true or not. What I heard as a visiting player is that Magic Johnson owns the team. And if it was never a sellout, that he would just buy all the tickets and it would be classified as a sellout and it would continue on.
I never heard Magic Johnson, but I heard people who own the team or these businesses who care about the Dragons a lot, like big corporate businesses that have their advertisements or stuff on the wall, would buy the tickets. But Magic Johnson, I haven't heard that.
Well, that's the rumor.
That's pretty funny.
That's the rumor in the visiting clubhouse, is that Magic just buys all the tickets.
It's crazy how stuff like that might be true or not. But like, if someone made that up and it's not true, that's pretty funny.
So you end up pretty much flying through the minor leagues. Really one full season in the minor leagues around, there were some half seasons on each side, but end up getting the call to the big leagues and this year. And I need to ask, because I ask everybody this question, because it's the call that every kid wants and every minor leaguer wants that I never got. So I love asking guys that moment, your call up to the big leagues moment. Walk me through that.
So it was after a Sunday. It was after a Sunday game in the minors, so we had Monday off. So me and my friends, we go to this restaurant. There's 4 of us there, and Pat Kelly, the manager, calls me. There was really no twist to it, but he was just kind of like beating around the bush. He's like, I don't know how to say it. You're going to the big leagues.
He for sure had something planned and just bailed when he couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah, well, because it was over the phone. And he's had some good ones like in person. I don't even think I saw any, but I've seen videos of him telling guys, and they're pretty good. But he was just beating around the bush, and I was kind of like, why is he calling me? Like, and then eventually he got to the point. And then I called my mom, and my mom's like, wait, I have 2 younger brothers. One of them's at ASU, and they were playing USC that weekend. I'm from California, so that my whole family was at USC. And I called my mom. I'm like, what's up? And she's like, let me call you back. I'm about to see Nick like after the game. I'm like, no, wait. Oh, I said first, I was like, okay. And I was like, wait, no. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I'm going to the big leagues. And she starts screaming in the phone. She starts screaming. And ASU supposedly lost. And my mom's like, after the fact, she's like, everyone was looking at me like, what's going on? So she starts screaming. She hangs up. And then she talks to my brother, tells my brother, and then my mom and dad, they both call me right back. I tell them, and it was really cool. It was funny though.
But you almost got hung up on.
Yeah, no, I did get hung up on.
Oh, she did hang up.
Yeah, she has her priorities. I'm the least favorite son.
This is, yeah, we share that. This is funny. I don't think I've ever told this story to anybody listening, but on draft day, so this was not my draft day, my brother's draft day, long time ago. But he ended up getting drafted 2nd overall by the Tigers. And it was kind of a shit show at our home at the time. We were like setting up this whole party with family, and it wasn't at the time where the draft was on TV. It was only over radio. So my dad was like really trying to set up the audio and the speakers perfectly. And we ended up like right before the draft we thought was supposed to start, we get a phone call, and this is on like a landline at home years ago. And my mom answers the phone and says, hey, sorry, we're setting up for the draft. Please call back later. Hung up the phone. And that was Dave Dombrowski, the GM of the Detroit Tigers, who was calling to tell Justin that he was drafted 2nd overall. And we hung up on him.
That's pretty funny. That's a good story.
Wait, they just told me Justin just got traded to the Astros.
No way.
Wow. Yeah, there it is.
Damn, that's crazy.
He's going back. So, wow. Whew. Bob Nightingale with the trade news. Back to the Astros, yep. So, yeah, if you're just listening to the episode, you know when Matt and I shot this.
Yeah.
So is it true that your mom broke the news? Did your mom break the news on social media? Is that something that happened?
That I got called up?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw a story that your mom like
Twitter
broke the news somehow. Yeah.
She's not active on that. So I don't know where that came from. She might have told someone who had a Twitter or something like that, but I don't know. It was on social media pretty fast. Like the Louisville Bats and someone else posted it like pretty fast. And I didn't repost or anything until like a whole day after, but it was on social media pretty fast.
So we're going to play a little game here with Reds rookies. You know, there's a lot of them, right? It's you, Andrew Abbott, Elly, Spencer Steer, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Will Benson. And there's a bunch of them. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about all of them, including yourself. You got to include yourself here. Who is the funniest of the group?
Me.
You. Okay. Well, I thought you said Elly was funny. So you're funnier than Elly.
Yeah.
All right. Who is the smartest of the group?
Good question. I don't think any of us, but I'll go with is Benson a rookie?
I think so. I don't know. Did I make that up? I think
I don't
is.
know if he is, then him. If not, I don't know. None of us. I'll go with Benson.
Who's the fastest?
Elly.
Best athlete?
Elly.
Most pop?
Elly.
Gee. Elly.
Christian has a lot of pop.
I was going to say, Elly has more pop than Christian?
Probably.
All right, next for you. You got to play back home recently, well, close to home, when you guys went to play the Dodgers. And I know you grew up in Irvine, right? In Irvine, California.
Yeah.
How many friends and family did you end up having in the stands when you were playing at Dodger Stadium?
Well, I had my family, and then I think I had like 30, 40 friends and family outside of that.
Jeez. See, people don't realize this. Players have to pay the taxes on the tickets, and they're not all free tickets. That'll add up for you.
My parents saved me. They bought a section in Dodger Stadium for 3 days. So nice. They helped me out.
All right, toughest pitcher that you have faced so far in your career?
There's a lot of them. Probably Kershaw.
Yo, when did you face Kershaw? Was it earlier in the year?
The first time. Yeah, the first time we played him. He was on that day. He just kept throwing that like cutter slider thing that he has, and he just like wouldn't miss. Like I was like, get him up, and he just kept dotting like low and in, low and in. It's like he just didn't miss.
So it
was a good pitch too.
So the velocity for Kershaw isn't obviously what it used to be a few years ago, but he still dominates on the mound. And I know he got hurt, but he was dominating this year. So it's not for you. It's as a righty, it's that cutter in on the hands that he just dots up.
Yeah, he was, and it was low, like it wasn't up. And then like he's just smart too. Like he's a Hall of Famer. Like right when you think like, oh, I'm gonna cheat to one, here comes a changeup or like a fastball on the black away. It was like, he knows what I'm thinking.
All right, last one for you. Excluding Great American Ballpark, so take this out of it. What is your favorite baseball stadium in the major leagues that you've gotten to play in so far?
Dodger Stadium.
Why?
It was just a cool atmosphere. It was like a party. Like the speakers were really cool. Obviously it was hometown. It was super nice. Being in California was cool, but really all of that had something to do with it too, as my family was there. But really the atmosphere, they packed it out, and it was like we were in 2 close games the first 2 nights, and it was super loud. So it was cool.
Do you have a least favorite so far that you've visited?
No, I like them all.
It's because you probably haven't played at the Coliseum yet, have you?
No, they went before I came.
That's everybody's answer. Is either the Oakland Coliseum or somewhere that they're like 0 for 30 in their career at.
Yeah, those ones suck too. But I mean, coming from the minor leagues, I love them all.
Yeah, true. Matt, thank you so much for joining me, man. Congrats on having a great year so far. Hopefully a great rest of this season, rest of your career. Come back and join me whenever, and I hope you guys get in the playoffs.
Thank you. Me too. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. I appreciate it. All right. Just wanted to thank Matt again for joining me. What a great conversation. Love the guy. Love this Cincinnati Reds team. I am rooting for them to make the playoffs. It would be awesome to see Reds baseball in the playoffs, the Cincinnati crowd getting to see this young team. I really do believe this, and I've been saying it for a while. This team has the makings if they do it right. And this front office needs to prove to baseball and to Cincinnati fans and to the team that they are ready to do things right. But this team that has a rotation built and ready with Andrew Abbott, Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and all these rookies I've mentioned, they have the future built and it's there. And now to build around them would be awesome to see. So, and he's a huge part of it. His consistency this year is something that a lot of people should take note of. He has been an absolute stud. Elly rightfully so, gets a ton of hype around the league. But we need to start talking about Matt McLain and how good he is and how much of a stud he is and what he brings to this Cincinnati Reds team. But what a great conversation. Wanted to thank him again for joining me. And thank you all for listening. Make sure you subscribe to Flippin' Bats wherever you listen to your podcast and follow along on all social media, including YouTube, where you can watch every single thing we do. That does it for this Wednesday guest episode with Cincinnati Reds stud Matt McLain. Until next time, my friends, peace.